Why is the first $100,000 so hard, but getting to a million is easy introduction? Let's be real. Making your first $100,000 is like trying to roll a boulder uphill while wearing roller skates. It's tough, it's exhausting, and at times it feels downright impossible. But once you hit that magic number, it's like gravity suddenly flips, and that same boulder starts rolling downhill. Getting to a million? It's a whole lot easier. Today, we're diving into why that first $100,000 is so hard to get, but why, after that, reaching $1 million almost feels like a cakewalk. Why $100,000 is the toughest milestone. The first $100,000 is brutal. No sugarcoating here. You're starting from scratch. It's like digging a hole with a plastic spoon. Everything is working against you. Low income, high expenses, and minimal savings. The money you make barely seems to move the needle. It's like trying to fill up a swimming pool with a leaky bucket. To put it into perspective, hitting that first $100,000 is all about laying the foundation. Imagine you're building a house. You spend all your time pouring the concrete, putting in the support beams, and getting everything just right. And during this phase, it often feels like you're making no progress at all. All you see is dirt and a bunch of cement. But if you keep at it, something amazing starts to happen. The compound effect begins. Here's where it gets interesting. Once you've hit $100,000, your money starts to work for you. You're no longer doing all the heavy lifting alone. Remember compound interest? Well, this is where it really starts to kick in. When you've got $100,000 invested and you're earning, say, 10% annually, you're making $10,000 a year just from interest. That's 10 grand without lifting a finger. Compare that to when you had $1,000 and made $100. It just doesn't hit the same, right? With $100,000, compounding becomes real enough to get your attention. It's like planting a tree. When you plant that first sapling, you're watering it every day, giving it sunlight, and just praying it doesn't die. But once it grows strong roots, it starts growing all on its own. That's what happens after $100,000. Your money is finally growing without constant intervention. Why starting from zero is so hard? Starting from zero is tough because you have zero momentum. Imagine trying to push a car that's completely stopped. It takes a lot of effort just to get it moving. That's what building your first $100,000 feels like. Every dollar saved is a direct result of your effort. You're cutting costs, working extra hours, and living frugally, all for a future that seems so far away. The first push is the hardest. Plus, when you're starting out, your savings rate matters a lot more. At the beginning, every extra dollar you save makes a big difference. You're in that phase where cutting out your daily coffee or eating out less actually moves the needle. It's all about scraping together every penny and staying consistent. The turning point, hitting $100,000. So what happens when you finally hit $100,000? Well, it's like the financial universe gives you a thumbs up. You're not just relying on your income to build wealth anymore. Your investments are finally stepping up. The snowball effect starts, and instead of constantly pushing, it's more about keeping the momentum going. If you add $10,000 to that $100,000 each year, and you're earning 10%, your balance grows to $121,000 after 1 year. That's $11,000 of growth, and $1,000 of that is just from compound interest. It's the moment when you realize your money is doing some of the work. You've built enough of a base that the growth rate starts to accelerate. It's no longer just about the grind. It's about letting the snowball build as you continue to add to it. The psychological barrier. Let's not ignore the mental game here. The first $100,000 feels impossible because you're constantly doubting yourself. You wonder if all the sacrifices are really worth it. You see your friends spending freely, and you question why you're putting in all this effort. But once you cross that $100,000 mark, something changes in your mind. You start to feel like you're winning. It's no longer about sacrifice. It's about the thrill of watching your money grow. You can see it right there in your account, and it's motivating. Why $1 million feels easy now. Let's talk about why the journey from $100,000 to $1 million feels so much easier. First off, you've got momentum. That boulder you were pushing uphill, it's now rolling down, gaining speed. You're earning returns on a larger base, and those returns are compounding. Let's do the math. If you have $500,000 invested at a 10% return, you're making $50,000 a year. Suddenly, your wealth is growing faster than you could ever save manually. Another big factor is your income growth. When you were working on your first $100,000, you were probably early in your career, earning a modest salary. By the time you're on your way to $1 million, chances are you're making more money, which means you can invest more. You're investing larger amounts and the returns are bigger. Plus, you've already built good habits. Saving and investing is second nature by now. The power of habit. Getting to $1 million feels easier because by this point, you've developed solid financial habits. Saving and investing have become part of your routine. You've automated your finances, cut unnecessary spending, and figured out what works for you. Wealth building almost becomes automatic. It's like working out. At first, every push-up feels impossible, but after months of consistency, it's just what you do. By now, you're also exploring better opportunities. Maybe you're investing in real estate, starting a side hustle, or getting more serious with the stock market. Your confidence grows along with your wealth, allowing you to take calculated risks that pay off. The snowball effect. Remember our friend compound interest? By the time you're past $100,000, compounding is in full swing. Imagine a snowball rolling downhill, growing bigger and faster. When you hit $200,000, $300,000, and beyond, the growth becomes exponential. You're no longer trying to grow a tiny sapling. You've got a full-grown tree that's bearing fruit. The difference between $1,000 compounding and $100,000 compounding is like night and day. With $1,000, the growth is tiny. With $100,000, the growth is enough to keep you motivated. Why the first 100K teaches you everything. Here's the funny part. Even though the first 100K is the hardest, it's also the most important because it teaches you everything you need to succeed financially. It teaches you discipline, patience, and how to live below your means. By the time you hit $100,000, you've built the skills and mindset that will carry you to $1 million and beyond. It's like financial boot camp. You do all the hard work up front and then you get to reap the rewards. The power of consistency. The journey to $1 million isn't about big, flashy moves. It's about consistency. It's about doing the small things every day, investing regularly, avoiding unnecessary debt, and letting your money grow over time. After $100,000, your consistent efforts are amplified by the size of your investment. Every dollar invested is like a worker on your team, and the more workers you have, the faster the job gets done. The first $100,000 is about hiring those workers one by one. The next $900,000, it's about letting them do their jobs, wrapping it up. So there you have it. The first $100,000 is tough. It's all grit, grind, and perseverance. But once you hit that milestone, things start to change. Momentum kicks in, compounding takes over, and getting to $1 million doesn't feel like an impossible dream. It feels inevitable. The key is to start, stay consistent, and push through the tough part. Because once you get that boulder rolling, there's no stopping it. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more content that makes finance fun and easy.